I'm Dr. Ryan DeBell from The Movement Fix. This is Movement Fix Monday, and this week we're going to look at stretching or improving the mobility or movement of the adductor muscles in the legs to improve our squatting position and our deadlifting positions. Let's take a look though at a spinal model to figure out why exactly stretching your adductors helps you get a better position in the bottom of your squat. A lot of times when we think about the butt wink or the back rounding at the bottom of a squat position, people think it's the hamstrings being too tight, or it might be a weight distribution issue. But one of the things that we don't think about enough is the adductors and how they relate to pulling on the spine at the bottom of a deadlift or the bottom of a squat position. So let's think about this for a sec. This is the hip joint, and if you can imagine a leg coming out here and there's like the knee right here, the adductor muscles go from sort of like the inside of the thigh and they attach onto the pubic bone. When you go back into a deadlift, for example, and you take this pubic bone, imagine the knee would be here, and you take those and separate them from each other, one of two things is going to happen if the adductors cannot lengthen well. Either the knee is going to get pulled in by the tension on the adductors, or the tension is going to pull the pubic bone forward, which is going to round the back. So that can happen either at the bottom of a squat or in the back of a deadlift. One of the things we have to think about when we see the knees coming in or the low back rounding like that is the adductors. So I'm going to show you guys a little circuit that I like to do to improve that range of motion through the adductor muscles to make the bottom of the squat position better and the bottom of the deadlift or the setup of the deadlift position better. The first thing though that I want to do before I get into like kind of the meat of this is I need to warm up my legs a little bit, because when I do stretching for this, it is somewhat aggressive. I think when people usually think of like adductor stretching, they would like throw their leg up onto something and then sort of just like stretch into it. I'm not a huge fan of static stretching, primarily because all we're probably really doing is activating the stretch reflex in the tendon and in some of the cells in the muscle when we hold it for a short period of time, rather than actually getting the muscle to relax. So I'm going to show you a couple different techniques, but the first thing I want to do is just warm up. And I'm going to warm up just doing some what's called a hip circle. So I'm just going to take my leg up, out to the side as far as I can, and I'm just going to circle around like this, going both directions. And I'm really trying to use the muscles of my leg to take my leg this way as far as possible and then come back up. So I may do like 5 to 10 of these each direction, each leg, just to get things warmed up. So after I've done that, I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes of this. And it's going to look sort of like a really wide-legged deadlift. And we don't have a dowel, so I'm just going to use this broom. The most important thing when we're stretching out the adductors or mobilizing or lengthening the adductors is making sure that the back doesn't round. Because if the back rounds, we're bringing that pubic bone that we saw on the spine forward, and so we're not actually stretching or lengthening the adductors as effectively as possible. So if you have a dowel or a broom or whatever, just put it on your back. And you're going to put it on your back so you have 3 points of contact right below your belt line, middle of your back of your head. You can go super wide, and just go as wide as you comfortably can. And then, let me scoot back a little bit. You're going to go as wide as you can, and you're going to push your butt back, and then think about dropping your chest and getting your chest as close to the ground as possible, maintaining those 3 points of contact with your dowel or your broom or whatever. And once you don't need that, you just go down as far as possible, trying to control this range of motion. Hey, for some people, just being in this position is going to be hard enough. And so if being in this position feels like the muscles are going to rip off your bones, first, be careful and don't hang out here too long. Second, think about pushing your feet into the ground, almost like you're doing that with your feet, and just hold that for 10 seconds and then relax. Go wider if you can. Push into the ground, relax. But if you can, really think about kind of sinking your butt back like someone's hitting you in the hips. And what that does is it puts a huge amount of lengthening requirement on the adductors. And if you can maintain your back position, it's really going to teach your brain how to support your body weight in a position where the adductors have to lengthen, rather than just kicking your leg up like I showed you before and passively stretching something. So you're just going to go as far as you can. One of the things that I've been playing around with just for fun is if I go here and I go onto my heels is trying to kind of hold this position actively. So I'm pushing my heels into the ground, but don't do that your first time. After you've done that though, recheck kind of the bottom of your squat position, and you'll probably feel that it's a lot easier to get down there because the adductors go from pubic bone to here, some of them attach into the thigh. And if you get rid of some of that tension there, you'll probably find you can drop down into the bottom of your squat a lot more easily. So this is not something I would do before a workout because it's such an aggressive technique. It's something I would do in sort of my movement training after a workout, but be careful if you've never done anything like this. It is a lot of load on the adductor muscle, so expose yourself slowly. So you may just hold it for 10 seconds a couple times. You may get more aggressive as you're able to tolerate it, just sort of like any strength and conditioning activity. So give that a try, test your air squat, and then redo your air squat just to see if you feel a difference afterwards. I bet you will, especially if that background, this could be a major reason why, and can really help you out. So give that a try. This is Movement Fix Monday. I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you stop by themovementfix.com/shop to pre-order the Movement Fix t-shirt, and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. Like us on Facebook, and we're on Instagram at The Movement Fix. See you guys next week.